Good afternoon. On today's news broadcast, we'll be discussing the threat at Austin Peay as well as the terrorist attack that took place in London this morning. Plus local sports, weather, and more. APSU-TV News starts right now. Good afternoon, I'm Brandon Crosslin.
And I'm Rachel Lejeune.
A campus safety bulletin was issued yesterday due to an unspecified threat that was issued against Austin Peay State University. While the problem remains unnamed, Police Chief Kazitz wants to stress that the only reason for this is because other agencies are involved in the investigation of the threat. If this threat becomes imminent, students and staff will be alerted using the text messaging system RAVE and other means of communication that the campus police department has implemented. If you see any suspicious activity on campus, be sure to contact the police department at 931-221-7786.
More details are emerging in the death of a 70-year-old Kentucky woman. Carolyn New was found dead on August 24th inside a church. Police have arrested Dwight Bell after they have confessed to the murder. CNN's Phil Pendleton has more.
I think just the piece for today is that he's been found.
Richard and Jonathan New say Dwight Bell was a homeless man that looked for help at Denham Street Baptist Church.
And was hungry. The church took him in. And I'm just going to assume from that point he may have talked to Mom, and my mom was always real nice. And
sometime on August 24th, she was killed and her car was stolen. Police say Dwight Bell took that car and drove it to Indianapolis. More than 2 weeks later, he was found almost 400 miles to the south of that city in Dandridge, Tennessee.
Finally,
some closure and the safety for the public that this man was off the street.
Why he was in Tennessee is unknown. Detectives spent most of Wednesday morning interviewing him at the Jefferson County Jail.
We want to interview him. We want to get what information he can provide to us towards the murder investigation itself.
Victim's sons say it's sad that their mother may have been killed while trying to help someone. They hope this won't curb other acts of charity.
not every situation turns out like this. And, you know, we still got to help the downtrodden, the hungry, and the people in need.
Bell remains in a Tennessee jail and will face an extradition hearing before he's brought back to Kentucky.
The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says puppies from a national pet store chain have recently sickened dozens of people in multiple states. The CDC is investigating an outbreak of a common bacterial infection linked to contact with puppies sold through Petland, a national pet store chain. 39 people have fallen ill in 7 states since last September, including in Florida, Kansas, Missouri, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, and Wisconsin. The CDC says 12 of the victims are Petland employees. The 27 others recently purchased a puppy at Petland, visited a Petland, or live in a home with a puppy sold through Petland. There have been 9 hospitalizations and no deaths reported. According to the CDC, Campylobacteriosis can cause diarrhea, abdominal pain, and fever for up to a week. Petland is cooperating with the investigation. The company said in an email the CDC advised them to continue to educate customers and staff to sanitize their hands after handling their puppies.
Restoring power to millions is top priority for Florida authorities post-Hurricane Irma, as President Donald Trump visits Florida to see the damage for himself. Here's CNN's Natasha Shin.
Recovery is underway for areas impacted by Irma. Some remain piled with debris, making access difficult.
I lost my boat, I lost a vehicle, he lost his boat. You know, it's only sentimental things. It's not, nobody got hurt. They just 1 foot in front of each other. You know, that's what we're going to do, is just keep going forward.
Others are still flooded and rescues are still going on. President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania Trump visited Southwest Florida Thursday to see the devastation firsthand.
I came down to see FEMA, to see the Coast Guard, to see the Army, the Marines, everybody, the Navy. The job that everybody has done is incredible.
Utilities companies are working to restore power, but millions are still without electricity. Florida Governor Rick Scott addressed the progress during Trump's visit, stating that restoring power is a top priority.
We are working hard to get our power back on. Our utilities have restored over 4 million homes already. We're down to about 25% of our homes, and every person in our state wants their power back. We all want our power back.
Sweltering temperatures are making life uncomfortable and difficult as progress is being made.
For more on the weather here, let's head over to Cameron Pena.
Thank you, Rachel, for the handoff. Let's take a look at today's national temps. So up north we have Seattle with 64, with Los Angeles at 72, and then over in Denver we have 77, Chicago is 81, and Atlanta at 82, and New York at 81. And today's highs, we have Memphis at 86, Clarksville at 85, and Nashville with a little bit higher at 86. And then down at Chattanooga, we have 85 with Knoxville at 82. And today's lows, Memphis is going to be a 69 with Clarksville at 63, Nashville at 64, and then Chattanooga is going to be 64 and Knoxville with 59. And today's current temperature it looks partly cloudy with a little bit of sun at 82 degrees with wind at south-southeast at 4 miles per hour. And tonight's temperature looks like it is going to be clear skies with 63 degrees with a wind at southeast at 3 miles per hour with a precipitation of 10%. All right, and then let's take a look at today's game day. So it looks like this Saturday when Austin Peay plays Morehead State, it looks like it should be sunny and clear skies at 6 p.m. kickoff at 81 degrees, mostly sunny. And then at the fourth quarter, it should be clear skies at 72 degrees. So you might want to pack a jacket just in case. Now let's take a look at today's 5 days forecast. Friday looks mostly sunny with a high of 86 and a low of 63. And then, this weekend looks like it's going to be really warm, so I hope you didn't pack away your short sleeve shirts. Saturday, mostly sunny at a high of 85 and a low of 63. Following Sunday with partly cloudy with a high of 86 and a low of 64. Following Monday, partly cloudy, a high of 86 and low of 64. And then I hope you have your umbrella for Tuesday because it looks like we'll get a little bit of showers with a thunderstorm with a high of 86 and a low of 66. Up next, we'll have Mason Devers with the Political Corner, and we'll be right back.
The military forces of the United States have defended our country. The Revolutionary War produced battlefield heroes and statesmen. Our national unity was settled by the Civil War. America strode onto the world stage with the Spanish-American War, and to turn the tide in World War I. American military forces were instrumental in World War II and distinguished themselves in Korea and Vietnam. American military might led to victory in the Cold War and today has the lead in the global war on terror. Military art may be the art that enables all other arts to flourish. Study the history of that essential art. Earn an MA in military history at Austin Peay State University.
Let's go Peay!
Let's go Peay!
Let's go Peay!
Let's go Peay!
Let's go Peay! Let's go Peay!
Austin Peay in the last 2 years has added more opportunities for students to study abroad, including additional exchange program opportunities for students to study abroad for an academic year or a full semester, and also short-term study abroad opportunities for that student that can't afford to be gone for more than a few weeks.
For one, you get an opportunity to live in a foreign country.
I got to travel around Europe and have a great time all while earning college credit.
Tremendously mind-boggling.
I learned the language, and I was always fascinated with the culture and the people.
First-hand experience on the culture. I got to taste the food.
So if you're looking for a great experience,
So if you're looking for a really great experience,
come take a look.
Come take a look.
Come check out the study abroad program.
Welcome back. On today's Political Corner, let's take a recap of some of this week's top stories in politics. 16 years following 9/11, President Trump commemorated the attacks with a moment of silence at the White House Monday morning, and then at a ceremony at the Pentagon later in the afternoon. At the ceremony, he said, "On that day, not only did the world change, but we all changed. Our eyes were open to the depths of the evil that we face. We will never forget those who lost or gave their lives on that tragic day, and they will forever be in our hearts and minds." Hope Hicks, one of the president's closest aides since before the campaign, has officially been tapped as White House Communications Director, officials confirmed Tuesday. Hicks, who has been named to the post on an interim basis, took over in August when Anthony Scaramucci left the job after his brief tenure. The Trump White House now has 3 women in major roles in the communications department. Along with Hicks, Sarah Huckabee Sanders as press secretary and Stephanie Grisham as communications director for the First Lady, Melania Trump. Never in the history of the White House has there been a female press secretary and female communications director at the same time. Well, just 5 months from now, South Korea will host the 2018 Winter Olympics. However, tensions with North Korea have caused considerable problems for organizers. The games are set to begin in February, but with North Korea conducting missile tests recently, ticket sales have remained drastically low. So far, only 400,000 tickets have been sold, and organizers say they hope to attract at least 1 million spectators for the Olympics. The last time Olympic Games were held in South Korea was the 1988 Summer Olympics in Seoul. And now let's head over to Brandon and Ben for a look at our Gov Sports update.
Well, not just a sports update yet, but thanks, Mason. First of all, a Michigan man's racist social media post targeting 2 fans at a Detroit Lions football game has sparked massive backlash against him and his business. Now the Lions have revoked the man's season tickets. CNN's Saima Chowdhury reports.
This is the post and picture that's causing some controversy. A Pontiac business owner, who's also a Lions season ticket holder, posted this because he was angry that this man and this woman were sitting down during the national anthem. Well, he used a racial slur to describe the two. Now, the woman in the photo, her name is Stacey Graham. She spoke earlier this week saying that she sits down during the national anthem to protest the 3rd verse pertaining to slaves. She and many other people were upset over the racial slur, and that didn't sit well with the Lions organization either.
We do have a fan behavior standard, code of standards, and I think without question that our organization followed up, found out who the individual was, and obviously he no longer has season tickets in our stadium.
Lions head coach Jim Caldwell is talking about David Doptis, the man behind this post. Doptis is the owner of a business in Pontiac called Restaurant Liquidation Auctions. His business has been getting backlash after posting this photo saying, "You want to sit down for the national anthem? You don't like our country? Then get the F out." And he called the 2 people sitting down the N-word.
Definitely stunned to see something written like that underneath my photo.
Earlier this week, the woman in the photo spoke about the incident. And by Thursday, the Lions organization confirms Doptis is no longer a season ticket holder.
I think it was handled appropriately, I think those things happen sometimes.
We reached out to Doptis earlier this week to ask him about this post, but he has yet to respond. I'm Saima Chowdhury for the Now Detroit.
Now let's head over to Ben Goodman for a look at your Gov Sports update. How's it looking, Ben?
Well, Brandon, for a second consecutive game, Austin Peay's defense held an opponent for under 300 yards, but the Governors just couldn't overcome the Miami Redhawks in a 31-10 final last Saturday. Quarterback Javon Craig would put up a big 71-yard drive to give the Govs their only score of the game. After taking a bad hit in the end of the second quarter, freshman Jeremiah Oatsfall would take over to end out the half and the Saturday with 7 pass completions and 75 yards. The Govs return home to Forterra Stadium this weekend to take on Morehead State and hope to end the current 29-game losing streak. Kickoff is at 6, and you can watch that game right here on APSU-TV and the OVC Digital Network. Gov Soccer continued to impress this past weekend with 2 3-goal shutouts against Mississippi Valley State and Little Rock this past weekend. Sophomore goalkeeper Mary Parker Powell received the OVC's Goalkeeper of the Week honor in her stellar performances. The Govs finished their non-conference slate with a 5-2 record, beginning their conference schedule this weekend with trips to Eastern Kentucky and Belmont. Austin Peay volleyball last week went down to Oxford for the Ole Miss Classic. Even with a loss against the Rebels, the girls would bounce back with the 2 wins against Mercer and Northwestern State. With an 8-2 record, the Govs finished their long road trip schedule down in Jacksonville, Florida for the Jacks Classic. Their first game today sees the girls taking on the University of Southern Florida Bulls at 2 p.m. Last week, we had mentioned Tampa Bay and Miami's Week 1 NFL contest was postponed due to the impact of Hurricane Irma. It was announced this week that the game is officially moving down the schedule to Week 11 to make up for that date. Even with Hurricane Irma's impact in Florida, though, it's not stopping the Tennessee Titans to head down south to take on division rival the Jacksonville Jaguars. Kickoff for that game is at 12 noon on CBS. Finally back home, everyone is seeing gold, which means only one thing: hockey season is back in Nashville. With their astounding run to the Stanley Cup Finals last season, the Predators took the offseason to revamp the team and hopefully return to the finals again this year. The Preds did take some pretty hard losses to their roster with the retirements of Vernon Fiddler, former captain Mike Fisher, and the loss of James Neal in the expansion draft to Las Vegas. But Coach Laviolette and GM David Poyle would make some other big transactions for their roster, signing former Predator Scott Hartnell from Columbus, Stanley Cup champion Nick Bonino from Pittsburgh, and the biggest re-signing of the season in Ryan Johansson for a new 8-year deal. As of right now, Nashville does not have an active captain with Fisher's retirement, but with the preseason starting next week, it will give the Western Conference champions an opportunity to impress the coaching staff and wear the coveted C on their jersey. The Predators begin the preseason Tuesday in a doubleheader against the Florida Panthers. That's all for sports. Coming up next, we'll have our Health Minute, and this week's you don't want to miss this week's Take a Look at This. APSU-TV News will be right back.
The honors program at Austin Peay started. There was a group of professors who thought, what are we doing for our strongest students? And since then, the program has changed and grown with the university. And now we have over 300 students who are in the program. It's open to students of all majors.
I wanted something that would set me apart from other pre-med students. So I thought the honor program would help me with that. It's pretty easy to make friends here because everyone here is focused on school because they're in the honors program, so they want to get something out of school. And it's just a nice place to come and study.
In the classrooms, they will be asked to stand on their tiptoes, is what we say. But the classes are more interesting. They move along a little faster. It's a place where those students can congregate to study, so I think students are better prepared for careers and for life in general through that academic curriculum.
Are you prepared for life outside of college?
Probably not yet.
Austin Peay's Career Services is there to help you transition to post-grad life.
I've had some friends use career services, but I've never used it myself.
Whether you need assistance finding a major or preparing for your future career, this free service has all of the tools to guide you.
We try to equip students and alumni with the tools that they need to go through that job searching process.
They built their resume and it gave like complete relief off of me because I was able to walk out of there and be confident in my next interview.
The entire reason of going to college is so that you can actually get a job. So those resources that are available to you in career services are second to none on campus. It's the best place to go to.
Stop by room 210 in the Morgan University Center or visit www.apsu.edu/careers. Take the first step into your future today.
Welcome back. Well, a rush hour blast on a London Underground train, which injured several people Friday, is being treated as terrorism by London's Metropolitan Police. Authorities say the blast at the Parsons Green station was caused by an improvised explosive device. Mayor Sadiq Khan commented on the attack, saying security forces are doing all what they can.
Over the last few weeks and months, the counter-terror experts have been saying that what we've seen over the last period isn't a spike. It's a shift in relation to attempts by terrorists to kill, to injure, and to disrupt our way of life. So we've seen attacks in Barcelona, in Brussels, in Paris, in Rotterdam, in Stockholm, and of course in Manchester, in Europe. I'm reassured that the police and security services are doing all they can to keep us safe.
The UN Security Council is holding an emergency meeting Friday. It comes after the North Korea launched another missile over Japan. CNN's John Lornick reports.
For the second time in less than a month, people in Japan were given an ominous warning.
I translate it with my phone translator. It's a find shelter in a basement. North Korea just launched a missile.
Pyongyang fired a ballistic missile over the Japanese island of Hokkaido on Friday local time. The launch comes just days after the North Korean state agency issued a statement saying 4 Japanese islands should be sunken into the sea. South Korea responded Friday with a live fire drill that included its own missile launch. During his 6-year reign, North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has tested more missiles than his father and grandfather combined. Prior to Friday's launch, the country had fired 21 missiles during 14 tests since February, improving its technology each time and possibly expanding the regime's capabilities.
There hasn't been activity at this particular location for over a year. And so what it's telling us is that maybe the North Koreans are going to activate this part of the test site for future tests.
This launch comes after the UN hit the regime with another round of sanctions, which squeezes its cash flow and limits the oil it can import. Analysts say the sanctions are probably not enough to force Pyongyang to halt its quest for a ballistic missile with a nuclear warhead capable of reaching the U.S.
They will act like a gangster driving through the plate glass window of the neighborhood store and demand things for us not to be threatened by them.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
Now on today's Health Minute, working to maintain the health of the furrier members of your family can lead to a longer, happier life. In today's Health Minute, CNN's Andy Rose has tips for keeping your pets in the pink.
Regular doctor visits are important to maintaining good health, and the same goes for our pets. Health screenings and vaccinations can help prevent some life-threatening illnesses like Bordetella, better known as kennel cough, which is a respiratory disease that can affect both cats and dogs. Reports also show that an estimated 80% of dogs and 70% of cats show signs of dental disease by age 3, which can lead to loose teeth or even chronic pain. Getting your pet spayed or neutered can also lower the risk of certain cancers. Maintain a healthy weight. Feeding your dog table scraps may seem harmless, but overfeeding your pet can actually pose a serious threat. Having an overweight cat or dog comes with health risks like diabetes, arthritis, and even cancer. Another good reason to visit your vet is to find out exactly how many calories your pet needs on a daily basis to maintain a healthy weight and live longer. Provide an enriched environment. Diet and exercise go hand in hand, and it's a great way to keep your pets healthy. Taking Fido on daily walks or playtime at the dog park can help keep their weight in check and keep them entertained. For today's Health Minute, I'm Andy Rose.
First responders in Florida may soon be starring in their own calendar after a few hunky pics posted online. Garner the heroes a fervent following. CNN's Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Some Hurricane Irma emergency responders in Florida have prompted a response of their own from loads of Facebook admirers. It started with a Facebook post featuring 3 Gainesville officers preparing for duty. The post created its own storm after scores of women began inquiring, some in more graphic fashion than others, about the officers' relationship statuses. The department fueled the fervor by posting more hunky hurricane heroes, even sparking another unit from Sarasota to send backup of their own. Gainesville officials are now planning a calendar of the department's quote-unquote finest. Proceeds will go to benefit hurricane recovery efforts. Los Angeles lit up to laud the Olympics. The display was in anticipation of the city's official 2028 hosting announcement by the International Olympics Committee. Nearly 50 LA landmarks were glowing in anticipation in the 2028 Games colors. The announcement marks the return of the Games after more than 30 years. Los Angeles last hosted the Olympics in 1984. We did it! We made it through a talent without a cute and cuddly animal story. Just kidding. 2 snow leopard cubs made their public debut at the Los Angeles Zoo, and I want one. The brother and sister cubs were born in May and are now strong enough to move around outdoors. Their parents were paired up 2 years ago to help repopulate their endangered species. So take a look at this. I'm Jeremy Roth.
Well, it's been a doozy couple of weeks getting back into school, but one thing's for sure, we're all ready for Saturday here at Austin Peay. Going to take on Morehead State. We're going to bop Morehead in the forehead. That's what I say.
I know I'm excited about tailgating. Hope to see you guys there.
Should be fun. Should be fun.
Oh yeah.
Come watch the band as well. Want to introduce a new weather guy up here, Cameron Pena. He's Cam the man.
Ben, Rachel, Mason, thank you for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Great to have you. It's always great to have new faces around here, new people to work with. I'm surprised we're not out of time yet. All right, there it is. That's all the time we have for today. Be sure to join us in the interaction by liking us on Facebook at facebook.com/APSU-TV News.
Thanks for watching, and again, join us next week for your Gov's Weekend Update.
And as always,
let's go Peay.